massive, massive impact. Small, tiny changes. Small, tiny changes creating massive impact. It's beautiful. It's what we want. It's what people talk about. We know that it works. We know that that 1% each day can lead to a massive impact. But only if it's in the right direction. If you have these little changes in all different directions, then you're not going to have that massive impact. They need to be stacked little changes. So they stack on top of each other. And as they stack on top of each other, that's what creates the massive impact. It's all the energy going in the same direction. But how do we know? How do we know that this is the right direction? How do we know that, yes, that I'm stacking those small changes into the right direction? Well, for a long time, we might not. And we might have changes that are going in the wrong direction. But as long as we continue at it, hopefully we can gather our forces and pull them in the right direction. And the way we do this is by looking at what I say are three things. One is results, fulfillment, and commitment. But I'll get to that in a minute. Well, let me take an example on how this worked in the real world. During the infomercial period, they would say at the bottom of an infomercial on the TV, operators are waiting to take your call. And this is what they used quite often. But then a girl or a lady, she was on the marketing team, she decided to change it. And she said, instead of waiting, we're going to flip the word and say busy. And because of this one word, operators are busy taking your calls. Because of that one word change, it changed the whole dynamic, and they had a huge more sales, something like 20%, but I'm not sure. So that change meant a huge amount. Now, if they'd changed another word, let's say instead of operators, they used the word agents, they may have seen a small increase, maybe, but it's not an action word. It's not a word that defines movement and energy. But the word for wait versus busy taking, that's a huge change. And that's exactly what we want to look for in our own lives, in our business, personal life, and pretty much everywhere. That small change that stacks to the direction you want to go. So as I said, it's results. You can see that there are results that happen in the world. And what I look for is that people are happier, they're growing, they're more engaged, they like it more. That means those are results that I'm looking for. The second thing is personal fulfillment. I feel better with it. I feel like this is the direction I need to go in. And I know that's not a data, that's not analytics, but sometimes it's better just to look at yourself and say, this is what's fulfilling me, this is what's giving me joy. And then the third thing I'm looking at, and this is the absolute hardest, is that commitment. Because a word like waiting versus busy, that's a committed word. One time we're waiting, other time we're busy. That's an action word. That's a word that drives you forward. If we change the word operator versus agent, that's not an action word. That doesn't move me forward. So thinking in your own life, when you want to take these actions that stack, that move you into massive impact, you're thinking about actions that are committed. That it's like, okay, am I going in the direction that I can commit to? And usually, this does not feel good. This does not feel comfortable. In fact, I'd say it feels uncomfortable. It feels like you're moving and pushing against the stream or pushing against the flow. But if you commit to it and you feel fulfilled, that's the important part. It's not if you feel comfortable, but you feel fulfilled and you'd feel like, yes, these are the actions forward. So these are just like my personal life stories, kind of sharing with you, showing how I feel. This is what's happening in my life. This is where I'm coming from. Maybe you have other experiences. Maybe you have something else that you can share that will lead you in a different direction that you want to know on. This is what works for you. If you want to share that, I'd love to hear about it. Please let me know. That's all for today. Take care.